Welcome to the Diva Details. Welcome to the Diva Details, where bold, confident women embrace life unapologetically. From love and sex to wellness and reinvention, we keep it raw, real, and powerful. No filters, no limits. Just fearless conversations to help you thrive. Let's dive in with Diva Mia and Diva Cat.
Well, hello everyone. This is Diva Mia, and today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about your first date. First dates can be the first time you're dating a specific person. Sometimes it's a first date that you're coming back into dating after being married for a while, or you were in a long-term relationship for a while. Whatever it may be, a first date can be very, very nerve-wracking. So I wanted to go over a few things that might help you determine, first of all, should you even be dating the person? And then secondly, are you ready to date? And then once you are ready, let's go over kind of what you need to do as far as getting ready for that first date. So to start off, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, are you emotionally available? Are you emotionally ready to go out on a date? Are you still healing from that last relationship? Or are you just it's too much, and you shouldn't be pushing yourself to go out on a first date before you're ready. That's rule number one. There's no rush. You live in a world where there's plenty of people, so don't feel like there's any scarcity when it comes to the right people and the right partner. So there is no rush. Is the person that you're going to go out with, are they even the right person for you to be going out with? Is the person you're going to be going out with, are they aligned with you? So I know that a lot of times we rush to get back into the dating scene because we're nervous that we're going to miss out, or that the person that is right for us is going to find someone else. And here's my belief. If it's the right person for you, they're going to be there when you're ready. You don't have to rush and you don't have to push, because something happens when you're ready. People that are aligned with you, they just come to you. You don't even have to worry about it. Let's assume that you are emotionally ready. Have you had enough conversations with this person? I know that some people will go on a first date with someone when they've just done a few text messages. Now, my belief is why. And here's my thinking and my thought process. It's going to take a lot to get ready for your date. You might do your nails, your hair. You got to pick out an outfit. You got to spend at least an hour getting ready, maybe two. And then on top of that, you want to prep before. You're going to have to tell a friend that, hey, I'm going on a date with such and such at this location. Dating now is a lot more different than it used to be. You want to be safe. At the same time, you want to make sure you look your best. So if you haven't had at least a phone conversation with this person or a video chat, I don't know if it's time to go out on a date, because I will tell you, there have been some people that I have texted from dating apps, etc., that seemed amazing. And then when you actually get on the phone with them, you find out they're a completely different person. And I've had that happen multiple times. And so after the phone conversation, I don't want to go on a date with them. I'm very selective on who I go on dates with. So if someone actually makes it to the date portion, they've been filtered already. So they've been filtered by text, they've been filtered by a phone call, and a lot of times they've also been filtered by a video chat. Some people you'll know after a phone call if you align. I remember I talked to one guy on the phone. I ended up talking to him for the first time for an hour. He was bold enough to call me, which I find wonderful in the day of texting. Any men that call me and talk to me on the phone, it's amazing, because I'm so sick of the texting, just to tell you the truth. And it may be that I'm a Gen Xer. I don't know. But when a man can actually pick up the phone, hold a conversation, an intelligent conversation nonetheless, they get brownie points in my belief system. They get brownie points in my life. That's also a green flag for me. But a red flag is what happens if they refuse to do a video chat. That's kind of a really big red flag. If they're like, oh, I can't do it. Now, if they say, oh, I don't have FaceTime, or, oh, could we do a Zoom? That's fine. But if they refuse, I don't know if you want to actually be alone with someone. And even when you're in a restaurant, it's kind of like being alone. Bad things can happen. If they don't want to tell you where they work or where they live, that's also a red flag. If you think about it, people should disclose like, I live in such and such town, or I work at such and such place. That way you can kind of check them out ahead of time. And you do need to know their first and last name before you go out with them. I know a lot of people on these dating apps, they don't get the last name, and I think it's important. You should kind of just at least Google the person before you go out with them. I don't like the men that say, oh, maybe we can catch up on Friday night. And then they don't make any plans, and then Friday night comes and goes and you don't hear from them. That's someone that's making you an option. You're the backup plan to their date. Do you really want to be someone's backup plan? Personally, if I'm dating someone, I want to be important in their life. I want them to show up for me. I want me to be a priority. If I'm not a priority, I kind of get disinterested and I want to move on. And it's happened before. Sometimes you date a person and you're no longer a priority. Might be time to move on. But specifically for a first date, if someone can't even make you a priority for a first date, you're wasting your time. That's a person that you don't want to associate with. On the phone, if they can't hold a consistent conversation, or if all they do is talk about themselves, a face-to-face date's going to be no different. And I have had that happen where I talk to a person, we try to have a conversation, and all he does is talk about himself. I found out all about him, and you could tell from the phone conversation, he's very egotistical. Why in the heck would you even go out? Why would you entertain a date? And one of the other things you might want to consider is maybe just meet for coffee. A coffee date's easy, and if you don't like the guy or you don't think you're going to like the guy, you can always leave early. Now, there have been coffee dates I've had that have turned into hour-longs, 2 or 3 hour long dates just because it was an entertaining and I found the other person intelligent. Sometimes coffee dates, the nice thing is if it's terrible, you can be out of there in 15, 20 minutes. No harm, no foul. You got your coffee and all you wasted was an hour getting ready. When you're going out on a first date, you're going to want to make sure that you look your best because first impressions are important. And I'm a big believer in dressing up for the occasion. So if you're going for coffee, you should still look professional. Don't go for coffee in yoga pants and a t-shirt. That's terrible. I actually had a guy show up one time that was wearing like workout shorts and a shirt that was polo, but it was ridiculous. I went on another date where a guy showed up in a shirt and it was all wrinkly. You want to make sure you're presentable, and it's extremely important, not just for women, but for men as well. The first thing is make sure you smell good, okay? So if you've ever walked into a house that smells, the number one reason why properties don't sell is odor. It's not actually view. So when a property smells, if it smells like mold or if it smells musty, most people think it's going to have a mold problem. So if you smell on your first date, you're going to turn somebody off and they're going to think, oh, this person's not clean. This person's not well kept. Same thing as if you're all sweaty. If you have a sweating problem and you know that you sweat a lot, especially in the hot summer, don't go on a lunchtime date. If you smell, go on a dinner date late in the evening when it's cooler so you're not all sweaty all over the person. Eventually, they're going to get to see you sweat. I mean, that's going to happen. But your first impression should not be someone stinky and sweaty. That's a terrible first date. So make sure you've groomed yourself well. Make sure you've washed your hair and styled it. It needs to look very presentable. Now, I have curly hair, so my hair gets a little crazy at times. But I still have to take care of it and make sure it looks good. Make sure your nails are done. I don't care if you get nail sets on or if you get them just cleaned up and manicured, but having dirty nails, whether you're a man or a woman, is a huge turnoff. I show up on a date and a guy's got dirty fingernails. I'm like, ew, what the heck? I don't care if he's a mechanic. You need to clean those nails before you come on a date with me. And if you're a woman and you have dirty nails or they're not manicured, that's going to be a turnoff for a guy. He's going to think you're not well kept. Make sure that you also, besides your nails, make sure your hands are soft. So use moisturizer. Make sure that you've got moisturizer all over your body, including your face. You might want to do a face mask the night before. So this is prep time. You're going to spend time prepping yourself for a first date. So if you're wasting time by not pre-screening a person just because you're so excited that you got a date, that's a waste of your time. I don't care who you are. You need to pre-screen them to the point that you're not going to waste time on a first date, if they suck, and when I say suck, I say that with tongue in cheek because everybody is right for someone else. It's a question of, is this one right for you? And if they're not, they suck for you. You need to not even go out on a date with them. Don't waste your time. Dating takes too much work to waste time with people that aren't even close. Don't wear too much cologne as well. So you're going to moisturize your body. You're going to make sure your face looks good. Make sure your hair looks good. Make sure your nails look good. Don't wear too much cologne. That's a huge turnoff. You'll smell like a perfume shop. Putting on a bunch of cologne before a date. Now, I like it when people put it on their clothes and they just lightly put it on. It's a nice fragrance then and it's not too overpowering. But don't douse yourself in it. It'll be terrible. And if you can smell it to the point of tasting it, you know it's wrong. Ask someone around you, maybe ask your children or ask a friend, hey, how's my cologne smell? Because sometimes when you're used to that fragrance, you don't actually know how strong that fragrance is. And then make sure that you've shaved your legs. Make sure that you've waxed. And if you do laser treatments or whatever, make sure all that is cleaned up. Now, I am not by any means promoting that you sleep with someone on the first date. I think first dates are great to get to know someone. You can give them a hug at the end of the date, shake their hand, or if you want to and the date went really well, you can give them a kiss. However, I think that you need to make sure you're shaved. Now, when I say shaved, if you're a man, you should have your face shaved unless you have a beard, but clean it up. Don't have some scruffy, stinky beard. One of the big problems that men have with their beards is they have an odor and they don't clean it enough. So if you're going to have a beard, make sure it's cleaned up because a woman can smell your beard from across the table, honestly. If you're a woman, make sure that if you have any stray hairs, those have been plucked. If you have, some women get a little mustache, make sure that's shaved off. Make sure your legs are shaved. Make sure you're waxed. And it'll make you feel more confident. If you're wearing a skirt, sometimes a guy might rub up against your leg or your knee. Not that he should be feeling up your leg. He may rub up against it. And if it's really prickly or has a lot of hair on it, that'll be a turnoff and he'll think you're not very well groomed. And then make sure you pick out the outfit. And one of the things I learned the hard way is you need to pick out the outfit the night before and try it on, make sure it looks good. That way you're not rushing getting ready for your date because what seems to happen, I know I had a first date with somebody and we were going for a nice dinner with some friends and I was rushing so much because my nails took too long. And when that happens, you're rushed and you just throw whatever you can on. And I was rushing with my hair. I was rushing because I didn't have my clothes picked out. I didn't know what I really wanted to wear and it just added stress. So by the time he showed up, I was a stress case. And that's no way to start a date. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that when you meet the person that you're calm, you're cool, you're collected, you're relaxed. Pick out your outfit the night before. Try to make sure you have ample time, maybe double what it usually takes you to get ready. So you have plenty of time to get ready and you don't have to rush. Make sure your outfit matches too. Make sure your shoes are picked out the night before. Make sure your purse is picked out. Any accessories like jewelry, you have all of that figured out. Even your cologne, have that picked out the night before if you have multiple colognes. You should have your makeup that you're going to take with you already in your to-go purse for the night. You should have it all ready to go. Make sure you also have a credit card just in case you need it because sometimes first dates go bad. Of course, your phone is fully charged so that if you need to call an Uber, you can, unless you're driving there. So there you go. Those are some ideas of things you need to do just to get ready for that date. So again, you see, there's a lot of preparation needed to get ready for a date. So why would you waste your time with someone that's just not a fit? And some people say, I need to make sure I meet them because maybe they'll be better in person than they are on the phone. But here's the thing. If they're nervous and not really doing well on the phone, when you meet them in person, it's going to be worse. It's going to usually be way worse. So you want to make sure that you're actually spending time with, and your time is valuable. Spend time only with quality people that, have a chance. Sometimes you don't have an option though, because sometimes you're getting fixed up on a blind date. Then hopefully the people that are fixing you up kind of know what you're looking for so that it won't be a total nightmare when you show up. All right. So just hopefully you can put your faith in whatever friends or family are setting you up on that first date. So remind yourself, though, of your worth. I think a lot of women go into a date and they're looking at the man as, I hope he likes me. And that's not the way to approach a date. The date should be, I'm gathering data to see if I want to even entertain you further. A first date is amazing because it's there for you to ask questions and see if there's even any type of connection. If after a first date you have no connection, or it lasts for 15 minutes, or the person drives you a little weird or gives you a bad vibe, it's time to shut it down. Remind yourself you're worthy of so much and don't settle. For Pete's sakes, we're in our 40s and 50s and 60s. If we don't want to be with a man, then that's okay. Most of us are financially independent at this stage anyway. So at this point, there's no desperation. You're choosing a man because you want to be with them and you want to give them your time. But don't give your time to anyone. You need to make sure you're very selective and don't settle. Also, this is one of the things I have issues with, is not to overshare. Don't over rehearse either. Don't have a script of like, this is what happened to me then, and then this is what happened. Don't have a script of exactly your life story. But at the same time, don't overshare. Now, I do tend to answer questions very directly and honestly, and I do give a summary. I'm a very big bullet point type of person. I usually do give us a good summary of who I am, and I do ask a lot of questions, but sometimes I do overshare. I'm a very honest and truthful person. It's up to you how much you want to share. I do not, and I repeat this 1,000 times, recommend you talking about your ex-boyfriend or your ex-husband or whomever you were with last to the new person. Now, they may ask how long you were married, which is fine. Why'd you get divorced? That would be fine too. You can give a quick, no more than 20-second synopsis with just a summary. Do not spend even a minute. Do not even spend 60 seconds talking about your ex. You're there to learn about them. You're there to interview them for the job of being your boyfriend. They're the interviewee. They need to impress you. Yes, you want to impress them. You want to look good. You want to be your best. You want to be at your best level. They're there to interview to be your boyfriend. And you need to take it as such. And it's not there to complain. For instance, if you were going in for a job interview, you want to be sitting there bad-mouthing the last company you're with. And if you do, no company would ever hire you. Why would you do that when you're going out for a date and you're bad-mouthing your ex? Why would a new guy want to even take you out? Because it sounds like you're dramatic and you're going to badmouth him as soon as you guys break up. Now, you could say, yes, I got a divorce. My husband cheated on me, but I'm okay. Everything's worked out for the best and I've moved on. That's fine. But if you sit there and say, yeah, my ex cheated on me with this younger woman or this older woman or whatever it is, and we were together for 30 years and I'm so upset about it. And I mean, come on. Would you want to be with somebody like that? You need to behave yourself. And remember the golden rule, okay? Remember the golden rule is you want to treat people the way you want to be treated, and you want to be with somebody the way you want to be with somebody. At the same time, you may want to ask them a quick synopsis of, what happened in their marriage. For me personally, I don't date men that have cheated on their spouses because I don't want to have a man cheat on me. I don't date cheaters. It's just one of my pet peeves. If they tell you, and in fact, I usually find out, what happened in their previous marriage or what happened with their last girlfriend ahead of time. I like to do that on the phone so I don't even waste my time. So typically I already know that. But if you wait till the first date to find that out, try not to ask too many probing questions because you don't want him spilling and crying over his beer about his ex-wife. There's nothing more unattractive than that happening. So again, don't overshare. And then say an affirmation for yourself when you're driving to your first date or taking an Uber or a Lyft to your first date. Say, I'm a magnet. I'm safe. I'm enough. I'm incredible. I'm the best possible version of me. Say an affirmation. The affirmation will give you some confidence for this date, and it will just make you have such positivity going into this first date. Now, some rules just for safety is always make sure you're going to meet in public and always never, ever, ever have them pick you up on a first date. It used to be that way when we were growing up that you could have a guy pick you up at your house. Well, you also had your parents there. So that was a little bit different. Probably living on your own or living with your children. So you don't want someone to know where you live. There's too many stalkers out there, ladies. And you never want to have them show up and order you an Uber home because then they'll know your address as well. So don't do that. Don't allow them to order your Uber or your car ride home. One of the things that you can do with most phones is you can drop a pin and tell them where you're at, or you can tell your friends where you're at. So if you're going to go out on a date and you're going to meet someone, let your friend know where, and then when you get there, drop the pin. That way they can see where you're at, and make sure it's live streaming for 24 hours so that they can see where you're at when you get home. It's a safety issue. And it's important to be safe on dates too, because it's a crazy world out there. You can also create an SOS signal for your friend, like say, hey, if I text you that I want to order pizza later tonight, or if I text you that, what are you doing for sunset tomorrow? Some code that your friend could see in a text that if you texted it and he oversaw it, he wouldn't think anything, but your friend would know you need help. Always have that, because you should have some type of words, or you could even just have a color like blue or red, or have something that you can text to your friend and say, hey, I need help. And you don't know when that's going to be. I mean, it could be at any time. I like something that's smaller. So if it's a really bad situation, you type like one word, and they know to come get you. Try to drive yourself. Now, if you have to use rideshare, that's fine. Just make sure that you're not having your date order it for you, and they don't know where you're going to and from. That's just the most important. And make sure to check in with somebody. So you know what? I a lot of times I'll say, I'm going to go on a date. I'll text you an hour later if it's going well. And if I leave early, I'll text you. It's nice to check in with somebody just for safety's sake. It really is. And I know we're older and there shouldn't be a problem, but problems have happened more regularly than you expect. So you want to make sure you're safe. And you can also take a picture of their license plate or the location that you're at and send it to your friend. That way your friend knows you're safe. One of the big things I think it's important before you go out on a date is you ask yourself would I date me? And I've said this before on podcasts. I always say to myself, would I date me? Am I ready to go on a date? And I am. And if I would not date me, why am I ready to go out on a date? Because, for instance, let's say that you're in a health journey and you're getting in shape. If you're going out early on a date and you're not ready to date, you're not going to feel comfortable in your skin. If you're not emotionally stable enough, meaning that you cry when you think about your ex, or you talk about him too much, or you dwell on him and you're not really healed, you're not really ready to go on a date. Now, some people will. Just remember that's not really fair to the other person, and it's really not fair to you. So maybe it's time that you spend more time with you if that's the case. You should also think, I'm going on a first date. It's going to be awkward no matter what. So if you've been newly single, it's going to be awkward the first date, no matter who it's with. So just understand there's never a perfect first date. As long as you're stable enough, you're not crying, you're not thinking about your ex all the time, it might be okay to go out. But there's going to be pauses. Sit with the silence. There's nothing wrong with silence. You don't have to constantly talk. Sometimes you have instant chemistry. Sometimes the person takes a while to build up some chemistry. Sometimes they're smart and sometimes they're just not so bright. And it depends on what you're looking for. And some people care more about a guy's pocketbook than they care about his intelligence. And some people care more about a guy's looks than they care about what he drives. So it depends on what you're looking for. Now, I'm more about character and intelligence, but not everybody's like that. So it's up to you to determine what's important to you. And you should know about this stuff kind of before. That way you don't waste your time. And you might see red flags right away. If you're with a person that all they do is talk about themselves, and all they do is tell you how magnificent they are, you're going to see that's a huge red flag. I don't need another narcissist in my life. So therefore, I don't want to go out with a person like that. But you honestly probably already saw that on the phone. So why waste your time? It's not your job to impress the other person, but you should be authentic. And don't lie and make up stuff that's not true. When you do so, it's ridiculous because you're not going to remember, but they will. A lot of people on first dates remember everything the other person said, or a good portion of it. And so then if they say something later and you'll be like, oh, I don't remember saying that. Well, now you're a liar. So just don't lie or even like make yourself bigger than you are, because nobody wants that. It's not your job to impress them. And one of the things that you can talk about is that, stuff that's not politics and religion and past exes is some places you've traveled to. That's a great topic. Where do you want to travel to? What are your hobbies? I mean, what are you interested in? What are you passionate about? And people like to hear that type of stuff. It really does let them know whether you're a growth-minded person or you prefer comfort or you even have the same hobbies. And then what type of goals you have. Sometimes that's important to other people. Sometimes it's not. And then you can tell some funny family stories if you want, but do not tell about any stories about your ex at all. So, and then don't trauma dump. Like, don't tell them your childhood. Oh my gosh. If I went on a first date and somebody told me how terrible their childhood was, I mean, they could say, yeah, I grew up a little rough, but I'm doing okay. But if they trauma dump on me or start crying or tell me how terrible it is or talk about their ex and how terrible they were, etc., it's not going to be a good date. In fact, I probably end the date right about when they start getting overly emotional, because that's not impressive. I don't need to take care of another man. I have plenty of children to raise, and I do not want to raise someone else's poorly raised adult male. There's no reason for you to have to take care of a 40-year-old, 50-year-old man. They need to be emotionally stable, or you shouldn't be going out with them in the first place. And if you do go out with somebody that's emotionally unstable, that's a red flag, and you kind of need to get out of there soon. Also, any guy that sits there and brags about his income is very insecure. If they're bragging about their job too much and they're like, oh, and they're telling you stories about how much money they make or how much money they made, it's kind of a red flag. Sometimes I feel like they're lying just to impress. And if they do have to brag about that, it just means they're so insecure. The goal should be to get to know a person, not to, outdo somebody. And it's not a competition on salary or anything else. Your goal is not to be liked. It's to observe and determine if they're compatible, because you don't want to waste your time with someone that's not. And then I love listening to my gut. So always do a gut check. Do you feel safe? Did you feel seen and heard and respected? I mean, this is huge for me. Respect is always big for me, but did they even listen to you? Did they repeat back what you said? That's a great, sometimes I've had guys that I go on a date with and they'll repeat back what I said, or they'll ask more questions related to that. That means they're actually seeing you. For me, I'm considered a sapiosexual, where I'm attracted to intelligent people, but they also have to be emotionally intelligent too. It's not just that. And then there has to be a physical connection. Now, I have been on a date where there was an intellectual connection, could see a partial emotional connection, and the physical attraction wasn't so great. But I was so intellectually attracted that I was willing to go on another date. Intellectual attraction for me is big. The physical, I'm not as concerned about as the intellectual. I'd rather have a smart person that's working on themselves than have someone in perfect condition that's a dud, that has no, emotional intelligence or spiritual intelligence or anything to offer. You get to decide whether you want to see him again. Now, a lot of times at the end of a date, a guy will ask you, do you want to see me again? That's a common question. If the date went really well and you're really happy with the date, feel free to say yes. If the date may have gone so-so and you don't know, just say, I don't know yet. But give me a call. We'll try to figure something out. If it was terrible, don't lie. Don't tell them, yeah, that'd be great, because then they're going to call you and they're going to say, oh, I just wanted to set up another date. And if the date went terrible, you don't want to waste your time with that. Just say, you know what, I had a nice time. I'm just not feeling that there's a fit. I mean, unless you feel like this guy's crazy and you're going to have a problem if you tell him no to his face. Otherwise, I think people respect it when you say, you know what, I had a nice time. It was great coffee to sit down with you. I'm just not feeling that we have a vibe or a connection. There's nothing wrong with honesty, unless you think the person will snap. So that you're going to have to feel out on your own. Maybe you just want to tell them in a text later, thanks, I had a great time. I'm just not feeling it. Whatever works for you and whatever you feel comfortable with. But be honest with people. There's no reason to lead people on that you're not interested in. And then sometimes it's good also to write down, take notes. I have found that some of the people I go out with on dates, that they have qualities I like. I'm adding all these qualities into my perfect person. Now, I don't have to have every quality in my perfect person, but it's nice to see certain people, what they bring to the table. And I'm learning more and more about what I enjoy. I was married for a very long time, and I was with one man for a very, very long time. I was kind of out of touch with myself. I was out of touch with what I enjoyed, with what I wanted to experience and what I want from a partner. So dating for me right now is still kind of research. I'm still trying to figure out everything I want. I've met several guys that were potentials and a couple of them I've had a relationship with, and sometimes it worked out and sometimes it doesn't, because I only date one person when I'm dating a person at a time. But the potential is nice. And I just don't know. Sometimes you go out with a person and you go on some dates with them and it goes really well and then it cools off. You need a break and maybe something's going on in your life or whatever. And then you come back and you date them again. There's nothing wrong with that, unless it just ended badly. But sometimes that happens at our age, I will say. It's good to, allow people to have their space when they need it. To wrap it up, I want you to not be so nervous when you go on a first date, because it should be fun. It should be information gathering. It should be fun for you. It should be fun for them. Enjoy spending time with another human being that has similar qualities to someone that you're looking for. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, learn your lesson from it and find out things in them that you want to have in your perfect partner and your forever partner and the person that you want to spend the rest of your life growing young with. And I always say growing young because that's what I'm looking for. I look for someone to grow young with, to have fun with, to be with for the rest of my life. I don't want to grow old with someone, because that means that you're trying to find someone just to get old with. And I don't want to get old with anybody. I want to get young with people. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my future. I want to live life to its fullest. You decide what you want. Hopefully dating around and, meeting different people will allow you to figure out exactly what you want and exactly what you don't. So this is Diva Mia. I just wanted to say I wish you the best of luck in your dating. If you need anything, please comment below, and I will respond to help you out. Have a wonderful day and have a wonderful dating life. Ciao, ciao. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing from you. Visit thedivadetails.com to connect. See you next week for more.
Diva Details podcast and website are intended solely for informational and entertainment purposes. The content provided does not constitute professional, medical, financial, or legal advice. We are not licensed medical practitioners, financial advisors, or legal professionals. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any financial topics discussed are based on personal opinions and experience and should not be considered professional advice. The content provided does not constitute legal advice. The Diva Details and its affiliate contributors and guests are not liable for any losses or damages arising from the use of our content. The opinions expressed in the podcast are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organization, sponsors, or partner. All facts discussed in the podcast are researched and accurate to the best of our knowledge at the time of recording. Information may change over time. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements or opinions presented. It is the responsibility of the listener to verify any and all facts that may influence their decision. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice.